The way I feel today, it's more of hope than despair, right? Like 80%, what am I even saying 80%? 99.9% hope. Maybe very, very minuscule part of it is despair, but despair might even be extreme, right? Describing it as despair, maybe uncertainty might be the appropriate word because I'm human at the end of the day, to be honest, right? But it's hope, yeah. And at the end of the day, hope has been what has always carried me.
Welcome back to African Voices Building Abroad. My name is Uzamaka, and I have with me a guest, and he's not the usual guest that I have brought in this show for a while now. My usual guests have been people who have been living here for a couple of years, but he just came just barely 4 months ago with his wife and son, and he's right in the thick of the Canadian dream, and he's willing to share his perspective on what's going on with him. So this is not the usual story of I came and I saw and I conquered and I'm providing perspective. This is the story of someone who is right in the storm, in the thick of it, and is willing to share his story so far. So you're welcome, Folarin, and thank you for having the courage to share your perspective on where you are right now. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Zol. It's my pleasure being here.
So I have a couple of questions to ask you. I have like 5 questions, and like I told you from the beginning, I want you to keep it honest and just raw as they come, like we say in Nigeria. Just say it as it is. So my very first question for you is: so you've been here barely 4 months now, and if I ask you to describe how you feel right now, today in this season, what would you say?
I mean, it's a mix of uh, it's a mix of a lot of emotions, right? Too, because I have to be honest about it. But one thing is, my superpower has just always been to not let things weigh me down too much, not let things bother me too much, because at the end of the day, worrying doesn't resolve anything, right? I'm trying as much as possible not to sound like a motivational speaker,
Yeah.
right? Because that's how exactly right. Because when I start saying these things, they sound very, very cliche, right? Oh, don't worry, worry doesn't resolve anything.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it really does not resolve anything, right? It doesn't resolve anything. So the
Yeah.
thing is, the way I feel today, it's more of hope than despair, right? Yeah, like 80%. What am I even saying? 80%, 99.9% hope, right? Maybe very, very minuscule part of it is despair, but despair might even be extreme, right? Describing it as despair, maybe uncertainty might be the appropriate word, right?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, like not being too sure. Like I remember while I was leaving, I know my CMO called me to my office and we're discussing, and she asked me like, "Okay, you made up your mind?" I said, "Yeah, I made up my mind." And she was like, "And you're sure about that?" I was like, "Sure would be that would be a long shot, right? I'm hopeful, right?" They're saying that I'm sure would be like maybe I'm overly confident about it because it's a new place, right? You're approaching your life from what you've always known, right?
Yeah.
What you've always been used to another place entirely, right? So again, like I said, it's more of hope than uncertainty, right? So
Mhm.
do I feel currently right now? Yeah, it's just being hopeful. I'm happy because I'm surrounded by a community, right? Community of people who were with me in MTN before, right? Where we used to be at MTN. And then, but most importantly, is my wife and my kid, right? Having them around just makes everything better. I mean, just before we got on this live, I was just all over the place playing with my kid, lifting him up, just running around the house, right? So, yeah, that's it. Is it my feelings has to do a lot more with hope than any other thing. Yeah, be a little bit of uncertainty because I'm human at the end of the day, to be honest, right? But it's hope, yeah. And at the end of the day, hope has been what has always carried me along, right? Has carried me along, has always been my anchor. You just have to be hopeful at every time. You have to be hopeful at every time because when I look at where I started from, right from my uni days till I found myself at MTN, right? It's been hope and audacity. Audacity in the sense that me reaching out for things that that people would not usually ask me or expect me to reach out for, right? But you have to be audacious, right? Yeah, you have to be audacious. You have to see things and talk to yourself and say, you know what? Yeah, I can actually aim for these things and do them. And that was the factor. That was the major factor of me. I mean, operating my life from Nigeria and coming over to Canada, right? Outside of the other many problems in Nigeria, do you understand? Because to be honest, I was living a very comfortable life in Nigeria with my wife, right? We were working in the same office, had a fantastic career, right? But at the end of the day, you just want to experience sanity, for lack of a better word. You want to experience a system that works, right? I'm 35, I'm 30, then 30, at the end of the going to be 40 in another 4 years, right? Living in chaos all my life in Nigeria, right? At some point in your life, you want to enjoy, some semblance of sanity, peace, stability, right? Yeah. And I mean that's just basically what it was, right? For me living in Nigeria was just being audacious and being hopeful and wanting to experience some sort of, again, like I said, like sanity, you know, come to an environment where everything just seems orderly, right? Yeah. Because I mean, when you look at it, the few times that I traveled outside the country before, you go and then you're like, oh, why is this not in Nigeria? Do you understand? And you want to eventually live permanently those kind of environments, right? I mean, the drawbacks are there, right? Where you think about race, your skin color, and all of those things. But at the end of the day, that's just life. You can't always have it the way you want. So yeah.
When you talk about, you had it, you were living the life in Nigeria, but you talked about uncertainty, not being able to plan and all that, and then also having hope here. What
Mhm.
gives you that hope in this country? What makes you that hopeful in this country?
I mean, Nigeria has a part to play in that too, right?
Yeah,
In the sense that as chaotic and as disorganized as Nigeria is, right? And you're able to still make something out of yourself, right? You
yeah.
always feel like, okay, if I'm able to do well for myself here, right? And I travel outside, I live where I am, where I'm comfortable, you understand? I go to somewhere, a country that even gives you more opportunities, right? I should be able to continue on that trajectory. It might not be rosy initially, right? At the end of the day, you've heard stories about people. Everybody has different stories, right? But for most of the stories, is the fact that eventually it all works out, right? Eventually it all works out. For the fact that one, you have an education, you can think for yourself, right? There is that. There's also the fact that I worked in a place that really, really exposed me, right? MTN, a huge organization, work with people from different walks of life, different background, right? So all this kind of thing, all those factors kind of just helps you to see the world, right, from different perspective, right? You're not shallow minded. So by the time you're coming to a new place, right, your orientation might not be grounded in the reality of that new place, but at least you're not coming there being a total novice, right? Yeah, but more importantly is the fact that when you look at the countries and you look at certain economic indices, right? Maybe the job market might not be as good as it is as it used to be maybe a couple of years ago, right? Job
Yeah.
market currently right now is tough. But at least when you compare with what you have in Nigeria, do you understand? You can still think about it and say, yeah, I mean, it's still better than what I have in Nigeria. There's still a lot more opportunities. And it's been proven because yeah, jobs I've applied to, I've gotten interviews and all of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Maybe interviews that I could have done better at the end of the day, but as time goes on, again, because it's a new place, you have to learn the nuances, certain things that you should be saying in
Yeah.
interviews, certain things you should not be saying. And as time goes on, you get better at these things, right? And eventually something will come. And that's why I mentioned education. So long as you have education, you have exposure, right? You see the world from different perspectives. At the end of the day, I just feel like things will definitely work out.
Thank you. I like that hope. I like it. All right. To my second question. You relocated with your wife, and kids. What has this move done to the two of you? The good and the hard, in this first few months. The good and the hard.
My wife is my soulmate. Let me start with that. And this is not me trying to be romantic or something. I'm trying to I'm trying to create a foundation for the
What
discussion.
you want to say? Yeah.
Yeah, for what I want to say. Every year has done nothing to us. Nothing in the negative sense. That's what I'm saying. I met my wife in school, University of Lagos. I met her in University of Lagos. We were in the same set, business administration, faculty of business administration. She was studying accounting. I was studying business admin. Started dating in 2025, right? We just clicked. It was like how do I put it? It was like a jigsaw puzzle, right? You find that missing puzzle, and it's not as if I was searching. So let me not sound too dramatic, right? But you just find, yeah, you just find something and it just clicks. Do you understand? And from there, it's just be peace of mind. So, for instance, like while we were working, while I was working in at MTN, right? She was at UBA, and she was telling me that, oh, for now you're always enjoying, like you're working 3 days from home. I'm always going to the office. This, that, always come always complaining. So after we had our baby, she had only 3 months maternity leave, right? Which wasn't really enough, right? A woman after carrying a child for 9 months needs more than 3 months to recover, right? Any woman. So I was thinking about it, and then the fact that she was still coming late from work. I didn't like it. So when I started searching for a job for her in MTN, right? To be honest, it's not something that I'm not saying I'm the first person, right? But it's not something a lot of men in Nigeria, especially, will want to do, where they have their wives working with them in the same company and they're on the same level, right? Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Both of us were on supervisory level, right? Level 2, right? So there's not too many people that want to do that, right? But because of how close my wife and I are, right? Because of how aligned we are in terms of our goals, right?
Yes.
I was like, yeah, there was a bigger picture. Okay, you come to MTN, you're going to be earning a lot more, right? You're going to have more time to yourself, because MTN actually a company that really is serious about work-life balance. They don't pay lip service to it. That work-life balance is actually there. So all of those things, I was factoring all of those things into the decision. Well, so I started applying and applying. Eventually, she got in. When we save money together. As soon as the salary comes in, she sends the money to me. Put my own. I send my own to into there's an investment account that I open. I put the money in there, and then we save money. And then it's just, there's trust, right, between us, right? Yeah, there's trust between us. She trusts me not to take the money and start using it to, indulge in frivolities, or do you understand? Like, yes, there's just that understanding between the both of us, right? So coming here, of course, was also a decision that both of us made. So getting to this place, it's not changed anything. I'm sorry, I don't mean to stereotype, but women are a bit more emotional than men, right? Yeah, sometimes when maybe she's just looking wary, and it's like she's applied, and nothing is coming forth. Like, and then sometimes she might break down and start crying. And my man, I'm like, how many months have you spent here? It's not just 2 months. What's the problem? Relax. Just relax. And the fact that you've come here, it doesn't mean that you have to be doing what you were doing while you were there. You have to start picking up skills, right? Trying to see, just to expand your pool of applications, right? She's an accountant, right? But
Yeah.
now she's taking lessons in IT audit and all of that. She wants to
Hmm.
write certifications.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very proud of her. She's a superwoman. All of those things. You have to, again, like I said, you have to expand your pool of potential applications, because yeah, she's an accountant, but you don't want to limit yourself to just applying for accounting roles,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, she's applying for IT audit roles, applying for accounting roles, whichever one clicks. Do you get? It's better that way than narrowing yourself to just one career path. But basically, yeah, sometimes, like I said, she, because of how emotional she can get, but it's not that too many times. I can count on my fingers how many times that has happened. Maybe 1 or 2 times, right? Maybe when things get overwhelming, or maybe when it's that time of the month, right? When hormones are, yeah, because we know when hormones are kicking in and all of that, right? And then all of a sudden, something that you were seen as, you were tough for, right, in previous days, all of a sudden you're not tough for that thing anymore, because there's something inside you that
Yeah.
is, boiling up. You understand, that has to do with biology and all of that,
Yeah.
and you just give in. But other than that, has it done anything to us in a negative way? Nah, none that I can think of. We are still
Hmm.
our very, very,
Yeah.
I still our very jolly and playful selves. One thing I'll say is that I'm not delusional. I'm very rooted in reality.
I like that.
Yeah, again, like I said, you're approaching your life from what you've always known, right? No matter what anybody tells you, right, on how the grass is, way greener here, all right? You have to be rooted in reality. This is not where you have always. You're going to be a completely different environment, right?
Yeah.
So, did I have lofty expectations, right, of what this place would be? Yes, but within certain realistic boundaries.
Okay.
Yeah, within certain realistic boundaries, right? I didn't go AWire with my thinking in terms of, oh yeah, I'm gonna get here and immediately I'll start picking gold on the floor. No, immediately people start, you know, I'll start training applications. I'll get 31 interviews in a month, and nah, I was rooted in reality, but also again, this is where hope comes in, right? Also very very hopeful about the situation, right? So, but you might be surprised. I would I would say I would also say it's even been better than I imagined.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's even been better than I imagined, right? Because there's certain things that I'd wish that were faster, right? In terms of certain documentations, right? That are
Okay.
mandatory that you need to do.
Yeah.
You might make one mistake in submitting your application form for something, and by the time they get back to you, be like in 3 weeks. So they get back to you in 3 weeks, and then you correct it. They are not going to go back to your case immediately. Do you understand? They probably get
Okay.
back to you in another 3 weeks.
Slow
Yeah, they
system.
can be slow. They can be
Okay.
the system can be. I won't say they are slow because I've also experienced situations where certain things were done very very quickly. So,
Okay.
for instance, I was here last year. Yeah, when I just came to do like what we call soft landing. I was here last
Yeah.
year for 6 weeks, right?
Yes.
So I went to where you get your health card and
Okay.
SIN, your social insurance. So we went there, got the card, came back home. I think a couple weeks later, my boy started. It was a new environment for him. So I totally understood why started having temperature, right? Like this temperature spiked.
Mm-hmm.
But then his tongue was yellow. I was like, what's the problem? So at that point, I took him to. But I'd always heard that, oh, you cannot use drugs without prescription. Of course, I know there are some OTC drugs, some over the counter drugs that I don't need prescription for, right? But for what I was seeing, I knew it required a prescription, right? So I took him to the pharmacy because I couldn't take him to the hospital. That's what my cousin, who I was staying with at that time, right? That's what she told me that, oh, you don't have your health card yet, right? I don't think you can go to. So we went to the pharmacy. I explained to the pharmacy. She was like, "Oh, I know what that is. Right? So I have the drug here, but it's a prescription drug. So can you give me your health card?" I said, "I don't have my health card yet." And she was like, "Oh, okay. So this is what will happen. Since you don't have your health card yet, we have a resident doctor. There's a doctor in the pharmacy, right? Doctor can prescribe the drug because the prescription must come from a doctor, but you would
Yes.
have to pay this certain amount. It was something that I was willing to pay, right? It wasn't that expensive. So she asked for her names. And then as soon as I gave her my wife's name, and as soon as she just put it in the computer, all of a sudden the health number just came out, right? The card wasn't ready, but the number itself was there. And that number allows you to access the healthcare system immediately. So it was even better than what I thought, right? Because I know that people have told me that, oh, you can use the long queues, da 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 da. I'm not saying those things do not exist, right? But the fact that they prioritize issuing you your health number, right? The health
Yes.
card number or whatever, right? They issued it to you before the card was ready, right? At least use the number. You can go to the hospital. You don't have to have the physical card before you.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
fantastic for me. So that's one of the things that, yeah, it's even better than I thought it was, right? Any other, I mean, the way the communities are built, the planning. I mean, I won't say I've been around the world. I've traveled to a couple of countries. I've seen development. I've seen the way it is in Canada, the way they try to incorporate nature into everything. The way everything just seems orderly is better, actually better than I thought. Sometimes I miss the chaos in Nigeria. Like I can be
I
driving
like
and
that.
then I just want I just wind my glass side, whatever side. I can just wind it and say, are you okay? I miss those things sometimes. Chaos in Nigeria sometimes is what we have been conditioned. Sometimes I want some little chaos, like small disorderliness, just small disobedience, a tiny bit of it, like this place is so orderly, right? Like, oh my God. Right, but I love it. I like it.
Cool. Cool. I like that. I like that. Okay. And my first question. My first question is, what's the hardest part of right now? The thing you're sitting with that maybe you haven't said out loud to anyone.
Hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
Africans
Tell me about African stuff.
That was a tongue in cheek, but maybe I should. I think, Vera, this is profiteering. On this is profit. Yeah, this is
Hmm,
profiteering. The things that they
hmm,
do, like
hmm,
yes, I get the fact that you import some of these things, but please, the margin on some of these things are ridiculous.
hmm.
Yes,
Tell
the
me about
margins on
it.
yeah, the margins on some of these things are they are ridiculous. Honestly, I went to a store recently. Though I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was the same thing. Saw it for $6 in one store, but that wasn't even Walmart, right? Walmart is the high discount store, like everybody knows, right? And an African store was selling for double the price. Like, why?
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
when anytime we have like anytime the the ingredients we use in preparing Nigerian food, right? Anytime we run out of supply in the house, Matt is always beating like, hey God, hey God, hey God, like my account go lose small weight now. I'm not joking, but you have to eat.
You have to. True that.
You have to eat. I'm an advocate of coming to a country and blending with the culture, eating the things that they eat,
Yeah.
right? But me, for certain reasons that I would not like to disclose, right? My diet is right. My diet is strict. So it's the African store that has it,
I
right?
hear you.
Yeah, it's the African store that has it. Um, another one of the hardest things. Ah, let me speak Yoruba. Yeah, bread, yeah, bread. You know what that means?
Tell me.
Their bread there tastes like sorrows and pain. Like, God,
What's a pay?
I swear,
Are you kidding
God,
me?
I swear, the bread so bland. My
Wow.
God,
Serious.
so
Are you a
bland. The
bread
bread.
fan? It
Yeah,
means I get bread.
Jesus Christ, this kind of bread that you tear from inside, like, it's so soft, and then this steam or whatever will be coming out of it. I'm like, jeez, I've not seen that here, but I miss that. I'm serious. Oh. But if I had to get more serious, or if I had to get serious, right, in terms of like the hard things that I'm not able to say out, is the once in a while thought that once because again I've said that it's been more of me being hopeful, right? But it's the once in a while thought because you are human at the end of the day. The once in a while thought that crosses your mind, that doubt, right? You start doubting yourself,
Yeah.
right? Because you've applied for roles, you
Yeah.
sat for interviews, and these things can be very daunting. In the
Yeah.
sense that, you get multiple rejections and then you start doubting yourself to
Yeah.
the extent that now get another interview. Before you start preparing for yourself, you start thinking to yourself, like, can I do this?
Yeah.
Right, something that you are very used to, something that you've been doing all the while, right? But
Yeah.
by the end of the day, you just have to talk yourself out of that thing, right? It's a thing of the mind. At the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
you are human. Nobody's Superman.
Yeah.
Self doubt will creep in sometimes.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, and yeah, allow yourself to be vulnerable. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
okay. The
Yeah.
most important thing is to not dwell on it.
Yeah.
Exactly, like because it is really what it is. You really
Yeah.
cannot dwell on your vulnerabilities, right? You can't dwell on the doubts that creeps into your mind sometimes, right? Yeah, it will creep into your mind. It's not a bad thing. You are human. You can't always be perfect, right? You're
Yeah.
not Jesus. Do you understand?
True. True.
Yeah, sometimes, but these things happen. The most important thing is for you to just keep going.
True.
NC will always win every day. You just wake up and show up. I use the example of my wife
Yeah.
where she was at UBA. She was working in a unit where she didn't really like. So whenever
Okay.
she came home, she told me she wasn't happy with the unit. She's a chartered accountant, and she wasn't happy with where she was working.
Yes.
Right. So I told her that don't they do rotations in your office? She was like, no, they don't do that, they don't allow for rotation. And I was like, okay, fine, you said they don't allow, but you want to work in finance proper. Okay, go and meet the senior manager there. Ask them, right? You have nothing to lose. The most you get is a no. And then you move on, right? The most no problem. She went there, spoke to the GM, told the GM that she's looking to work in that unit, fixed assets, right, as a financial analyst. And man asked her, Okay. Do you have icon? She was like, yeah, she's a chartered accountant. She said, you are a chartered accountant. Oh, okay, that's nice. Next week, we'll schedule an interview one on one. Let me hear from me. And that was it. And that was it. If she had sat down in that place where she was and just always doubting, right, that
Yeah.
no, they don't do rotation in, and nah, it's not gonna work. Is that she will have just remained there. Like
Yeah.
you have to move.
You have to move.
You have to keep moving. You have to stay consistent. And that was it. The same story by the time she wanted to come to MTN, right? We kept applying and applying and applying and applying and applying until she got in.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no
Yeah.
connections. Even
Yeah.
though I was working, I had no connections whatsoever. All I
Yeah.
did was apply for her, right? Tailor her CV and prepare her for the the questions that the art questions. Because obviously I'm not an accountant. The on the job questions, I don't know anything about those. But I had
Yes.
questions, prepared her for it, and that was it. And she
Yeah.
got in after like 4 tries. The most important is she kept moving, kept moving. Let me tell you one funny thing. She was going to do that interview, right? Her laptop wasn't working.
Oh,
It
wow.
didn't connect. Yeah, it didn't connect. A laptop didn't connect.
Wow.
So you know what happened? I gave her my laptop. So okay, use your laptop. But obviously, my laptop is connected to the company's enterprise. You understand? Teams, 360, Microsoft 365. So
Yes.
obviously, my name is going to show. So when the panel dialed, the person, obviously, the HR person that was there was like, because my picture was on the. I was like, Folarin, what are you? Folarin, what are you doing here? I don't understand. Why are you here? I said she was not like, oh, sorry, it's not Folarin, it's Folarin's wife. Yeah, my husband works in MTN, but my laptop is not working, so that's why I had to use this computer. I was like, okay, okay, yeah, we just wanted to. Okay, that's fine, right? I feel like that was fate somehow, some ways I don't know. I feel like that was fate,
I
Just say that.
understand. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe at the end of the day, someone puts in a good word. But most important thing, she came top. Yeah.
Right. So my last question for you. So we know you're quite early. You're still early. It's still early days, and you don't have it all figured out. Um, at least at this point, what are you holding on to that keeps you going?
Jesus. There's, there's that. Yeah, I'm a person of faith. I'm a person of faith. He has
Yeah.
always worked for me. I'm a person of hope. I'm a person of audacity, right? But I'm also big on competence. When I say I'm not saying I'm the most competent person, right? I'm
Yeah.
big on competence in the sense that the more competent you get, right, the more confident you are. If you
Yes.
have
Yes.
audacity, it's good to have
Yeah.
audacity, but Audacity can take you into the room. Like you
True.
applied for a role, you have Audacity, you write many,
Yeah.
many things, you get to the
True.
interview. You get to the interview, you bamboozle them, you say the right things. But
Yes.
what will keep you on the job is competence.
True that. True
Yeah.
that.
So what has kept me going here is the fact that every day I'm improving my level of competence in my field, right? It's the hope, right? Is the fact that I have to be audacious. You really have to be audacious. The job market is crazy, right?
Yeah.
You're competing with ex Amazon, ex Meta, ex Microsoft. It's like people you're competing with in the market, but you have to be at the top of your game. You have to be at the top of your game. So it's what has kept me. But you have to be hopeful. You have to be audacious. You have to be confident that things will turn out.
Oh, a lot of nuggets here for Larry. And thank you so much for being very honest about your, where you are right now. Like I said, you
Mm-hmm.
are right in the thick of it. You're in the thick of the
I am.
storm. And
I
yeah,
am.
I see they're hot.
I see the hot. Yeah, exactly. As the hot. I'm in thick of it.
Yeah, exactly. And this the whole essence of this channel, for people who
Mm-hmm.
probably might be in this similar situation like yourself, who are just coming in and they are saddled with all the okay there, because here in Canada there's a lot of bills to be paid. The system doesn't care that
The
you're
bills
just
keep
coming
coming
in,
in.
bills come,
They don't
and all
stop.
that.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. So they don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
So some
They
people
don't.
can really get quite desperate, and then there's that despair. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hearing your perspective, and that
Mm-hmm.
hope, that 99.9% that you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that that will encourage a lot of them who are in similar situations to say, yeah, there is always
Mm-hmm.
light at the end of the tunnel, and to just
There
continue
is.
being consistent and just giving it your very best and showing up, like you said.
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
whole essence of this
Yep.
this channel, and to encourage people who are just coming here. And
You
so
have to
thank
show up.
you. Yeah, thank you for Lauren. Thank you so much for coming to this show and being
It's been
quite
my
honest.
pleasure.
Thank you
It's been
so
my
much.
pleasure. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for having me. And I hope
Thank you.
next time we are. I hope next time we are here, we can laugh about the things that we said.
Exactly. But I'm
Yeah.
sure we will.
Yeah.
All right.